welcome to my channel. This is going to be the first video on this channel, so I hope you all enjoy it. Today's video is going to be on the differences between introvertedness, shyness, and social anxiety. Now, this is pretty much the information that I have gotten off of the internet and also just some of my opinions, so if you don't agree with me, that's totally okay as well. I just wanted to share my own opinions in this video. You're going to be seeing a lot of me looking down or just pretty much not looking at the camera because I did write some notes down here below. So I am going to start off first with introvertedness. So I am an introvert, and from as long as I can remember, even in elementary school, I was just someone who was very reserved, and teachers have always said I was shy, and I don't think that was the right word for it at all. Shy is something else that's different that I will talk about later. But I was definitely a reserved kid. I just kept to myself. I didn't really say much. You know what? I never really volunteered or like raised my hand in class to answer a question, so maybe that's why the teacher thought I was shy. But in reality, I just didn't know the answer, so I'm not gonna raise my hand and say something if I don't know what the answer is. So that's just why I never raised my hand. So anyways, introvertedness, they enjoy being alone, but they also, don't mind being around others either. They might not like it, but they still won't try to avoid it. And I think that's a huge misconception when it comes to people who are introverted. Sometimes people are introverts and shy at the same time. Some people are just introverts, and some people are all three, both introvert, shy, and socially anxious. So just because you are an introvert doesn't always mean that you're shy, though. And just because you're shy doesn't always mean that you have social anxiety. So I just wanted to say that to get it out of the way. So people do sometimes have this misconception that, introverts don't really enjoy talking to people. And that may or may not be true. Some introverts actually do enjoy talking to people, but after a certain amount of time, they get tired and they just need to go home and rest and do their own thing for a little bit. It really pretty much drains their energy when they have to be so actively speaking all the time, or just having a lot of people, being around a lot of noise. It really drains out their energy. And I can say that is really true for me. When I'm at work, I always have to talk a lot more than I usually do with my daily life, just because my work requires me to be a little bit more social. So that's just something that I have to do at work. Do I enjoy it? Not really, but I can pull it off. I can go to work. It's not really an issue for me to go to work and having to do that, but it does drain a lot of my energy. So when I go home, I just don't want to do any more of that. So that means I don't want to hang out with other people, or I just, want to do something quiet on my own. I don't want to go to a huge party or gathering right after work, or go and meet someone and have another conversation, because I already talked a lot at work and I am drained. So another thing about introvertedness is that they're not really scared to talk to people. They just may or may not enjoy it, which I already mentioned. So yeah, for example, I'm an introvert and I have no issues walking up to someone and asking for help. Or if I'm at work and I need help, I'm just gonna ask the stranger next to me. It's not really a big deal. I don't really get socially anxious when I have to do that. Do I like doing it? No, but I'll do it, and it's not really a big issue for me. Example of an introvert at a hangout. So let's say it's the weekend and an introverted person gets an invite to go hang out with a group of friends. Let's say the introverted person would probably either decline the invite just because they don't want to, or they might go and hang out with a bunch of people, but maybe after an hour or two they just feel too tired, so then they'll go home early. It's just an example of what an introvert might do in that situation. Now I'm going to go on to shyness. So a lot of people in my life, especially teachers, thought that I was shy growing up just because I was quiet and I didn't really talk much. And when I think of shyness, I think of someone who's easily embarrassed, or someone who blushes or something like that when they get like a compliment. When a shy person wants to talk to someone, they just might be too like scared or embarrassed. They might say the wrong thing, so they don't go and approach the person, but they would be okay if the other person approached them instead and talked to them first. I knew someone that was shy that did this. Whenever I would introduce this person to one of my friends, three of us would hang out. The shy person would really want to get to know the new person, but they would just won't make the first move. They would wait until the other person makes the first move. But once the other person makes the move and they become more comfortable with them, they would begin to talk to them, but they wouldn't make the first move because they're embarrassed or shy. So this person might be worried about what's happening and what's going on right now, the present action. So like the example about presentation, so maybe they're not really worried about it beforehand, or maybe they worry about it mildly, but the day of the presentation, they'll still go and do the presentation, but they might like blush a lot or get a little bit nervous, but they'll still go through with it. Yeah, and a shy person at a hangout would probably go to the hangout, but then just wait for people to approach them. Like they wouldn't introduce them to someone else, or it might take them a lot of courage to go themselves to somebody else, or they might not introduce themselves to somebody unless they really, 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 really want to get to know that person. But it would take them a lot of courage to do it. The last category is socially anxious. Socially anxious people have a fear of being judged by others in social situations. So sometimes they might even avoid situations that are social. So when I say social situations, it could mean a lot of things. It could be ordering food, it could be going to the mall, it could be going to a concert or somewhere in public. It could be like a personal interaction, it could be at school, it could be a lot of variety of different settings and situations. So they might avoid these situations because they're scared of doing something wrong or saying something that other people might think it's strange, or they're scared of saying something that other people might think is dumb when that's not really the case. They're just kind of overthinking a lot too about what others might think about them, and maybe they're trying to prevent things from happening that might make them embarrassed or anxious, so they kind of just avoid the situation. So let's say this person gets an invite to a hangout. This person might just throw the invite away or just not answer at all. And if they do, say they're going to come, maybe last minute they just cancel it, so they just don't show up and they don't go. It's pretty consistent. They do this really frequently. So the example with the presentation. So like I said, with an introverted person and a shy person doing a presentation, it might take them a lot of courage to go through a presentation. An introvert might not even have this issue, but a shy person would. But introverted and shy person and generally will go through with a presentation. Now a socially anxious person, they might maybe just be absent on the day of the presentation, or they might try to get out of the assignment. They would try really, really hard to get out of the assignment. Or they might even just go ahead and take an F if they are unable to get a different assignment. They just pretty much try to avoid the presentation is what they would do, because they don't want to embarrass themselves. And I feel like people who are socially anxious, they exhibit more physical symptoms. So a shy person might be like a little bit sweaty, or like their cheeks might get hot, and a little bit nervous, of course, doing a presentation or like meeting new people. But a socially anxious person, it's like more extreme. So their heart might be pounding a lot. They might be like excessively sweating. Palms are sweaty. They start feeling really warm. It's just different from being just shy. Shy is different from being socially anxious. Socially anxious people, they're very self-conscious about how they act around other people out of fear of being judged. So like I said before, introvertedness, shyness, and social anxiety, you could have all three, but just because you're introverted, like I said, doesn't mean that you're always shy. There's a likelihood that if you are socially anxious, you're probably shy, but being shy doesn't always mean that you're socially anxious. More so than socially anxious, I think I'm more socially awkward than I am socially anxious. But let me know in the comment section down below. Do you think you're an introvert? Are you shy? Are you socially anxious? Or are you Are you actually an extrovert and just watching this video for some reason? Let me know in the comments section down below which one of these 3 categories that you fall into. Do you fall into more than one category? Are you not in any of these categories at all? Or do you just not like to categorize yourself? So yeah guys, thanks so much for watching and showing up to the very first video on this channel. I hope you all enjoyed it and hopefully you'll return and watch my future videos. Thanks so much for watching. Bye!